Well, welcome to the January 2019 Park City Market Talk webinar. I'm Ron Wilstein, a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties in Park City, Utah.
And I'm Dean DeLeone, a buyer's consultant on the Wilstein team.
And we want to begin, of course, this first webinar of the year by wishing each and every one of you a Happy New Year for 2019.
Happy New Year.
Did you have a good celebration?
Had a great celebration, you?
I did. I celebrated relaxing at home.
Perfect.
So it was pretty mellow.
Yeah.
Well, as we look at 2019, there's a lot on the calendar. And so let's just talk about some of our topics for today's webinar.
So the Winter Olympics are in Salt Lake and Park City sites again.
So we're excited about that. We won the bid for either the 2026 or 30, and we'll give you some details on that. Then we want to tell you about the Interstate I-80 overpass for Animals. Give you the details on that. That was just completed.
And the Sundance Film Festival is right around the corner, starting just a couple of weeks, January 24th.
And then we'll give you an update on the Park City real estate market. Of course, since this is January, we're going to look back at the entire year of 2018 and compare it with 2017.
And Ron's going to be giving us his predictions for the 2019 market, as he does every year.
We're happy to announce that Salt Lake City won the U.S. bid for the Winter Games. Question is which games? It's either going to be the 2026 or the 2030 games, and quite excited about this. Now what that means is if U.S. wins the bid, then Salt Lake City will be the host for either of those years.
Which is very exciting news because we had it in 2002 and both of us were here at that time. Yep. It was a great opportunity for the town.
It was great, and the wonderful thing we have going for us in Park City and Salt Lake is that all the venues are all built. They were built then, they've been kept up, and so unlike most cities that have to go crazy and get ready for the games, we're already ready right now.
Which it looks like probably going to be 2030 games, but for that reason which Ron just mentioned, possibly the 2026 games if the other countries aren't able to put up the infrastructure in time.
That's right. Now talk about infrastructure, let's talk about animals that we're so concerned about. And what has the Utah Department of Transportation been doing recently?
Well, they started in April and finished in December, and it's officially open, but spent $5 million on a wildlife bridge over Interstate 80 at Parley's Canyon, really close to the Summit Park exit, so that wildlife can safely cross the road, because we've had a significant amount of animals hit in that area.
That's right. This bridge, it spans over 6 lanes, and it's about 320 feet in length, about 50 feet wide, and it's really, of course, to make it safer for both the animals and people alike traveling the canyon. Here are the animals enjoying their safe environment and getting ready to cross the highway. It's important to realize that according to UDOT, the Utah Department of Transportation, over 100 wildlife collisions occurred over the last 2 years in this area, and they estimate and suspect that it's probably 4 times unreported amount as well. So you got 500 animals and crashes going on there, and that's why such an undertaking was taken on.
Yeah, I mean, driving that stretch was sad at times.
Yes, it was.
Seeing a few animals on the side of the road, so it's a positive thing for our community.
Sundance is happening. We look forward to this every year. Sundance Fever. Best ways to get information on Sundance is go to their website, simply at sundance.org, and to get details on the film festival /festival, take you to this page, and you've got a lot of helpful information. Planning your trip, this will give you information on lodging, restaurants, really everything that you need. This tab over here, How to Fest, will give you a schedule of the films, how to get tickets. So if you want to enjoy Park City, and the mountain, by the way, is rarely busy because people are watching films, they're in the restaurants. It's a great time to come to ski in Park City or to take in the Sundance Film Festival, January 24th through February 3rd. Well, let's turn our attention to the Park City real estate market. The market is mixed these days, and so let's take a closer look at it.
We have seen 1,271 sales in Park City over the past 12 months, and that's down 9% from 132 sales in the previous year.
Now this graph here breaks up homes, condos, and lots. The The red bars represent the period of January through December 2018, so all of last year. The silver represents all of 2017. And you can see number of homes that sold is down by about 52 sales or 9%. Condos dropped from 656 to 584. That's an 11% decrease. And even among lots, it's a 4%. It's only 8 lots, but it dropped from 179 to 171. So in each category, homes, condos, and lots, number of sales year over year are down.
And here we're looking at the home sales that are broken out between Park City proper and the Snyderville Basin. In Park City, we saw a decrease of 10% from 175 to 157 sold homes. And in Snyderville Basin, we saw a 9% decrease from 393 to 359 sold homes.
Now we're looking at condominium sales down in the city limits from 346 to 316, and a 14% decrease in the Snyderville Basin, dropping from 310 to 268.
And here we're looking at vacant land sales in Park City proper. Not a large number, but still, but it is up here 21% from 24 to 29 sold homes. Again, that's not a big number to pull or to sample from. In Snyderville Basin saw a decrease of 8% from 155 to 142 sold lots.
So what can we say about the number of sales? Well, in most categories, they are dropping. Now, what's happening with prices? The good news is prices, however, are on the rise, and that's significantly on the rise. Let's look at homes.
Here we're looking at the median price of sold homes from January to December 2018. Park City still saw a 10% increase from 1.9 million to 2,085,000, and the Snyderville Basin saw a 20% increase from 1,022,000 to $1,230,000.
Wow, that's just huge for the Snyderville Basin. I remember when we were pounding against that 1 million mark, and it just blasted through that to 1,001,000, 1,002,000 now. So we're seeing double-digit appreciation in the single-family home market. When we turn our attention to condominiums, 24% within the Park City limits, climbing from a median price of $717,000 all the way up to $886,250. And while it's not a double digit, it's as close as you can get in the Snyderville Basin, 9% increase from $499,000 to $545,000. So on the one hand, we saw number of sales dropping, which often causes prices to drop. Not exactly what we're seeing here, double digits.
And for the vacant lots in Park City, we saw a 26% increase from $820,000 to $1,035,000, and a 16% increase in the Snyderville Basin from $425,000 to $493,000.
So sales are down, but our appreciation numbers are fantastic. Now let's look at time on the market. The average time on the market for a home over the past year was 113 days. Obviously some faster, some took longer, but that's the average time. I want to point that out and compare it with the average time of active listings on the market without selling, which is 237 days. So in essence, we're seeing the time of our current inventory of properties that are probably overpriced and as a result not selling, double what our selling range is of the properties priced correctly that are appreciating really, really nicely. So what does that mean? It means that sold prices are going up and the number of sales are going down. Usually prices drop to adjust for the slowdown in the market. Haven't seen it yet.
But what we are seeing with the buyers is that they're still buying properties, but they're purchasing correctly priced properties, and they're not wasting their time on the overpriced properties, which was well indicated in the number of days on market graph that we just showed you, because those keep increasing on those overpriced properties.
All right, before we go on to our next subject, we just want to remind you that we publish a newsletter called Park City Link. We deal with many of the stats that we've talked about here and what the market is doing. And if you receive that in the mail, great. If you'd like to get it, let us know. But you can go to our website at BuyParkCity.com /Park City Link and read about these subjects. We deal with sold prices going up and list prices dropping and a lot of other important topics. So do check it out.
And now for the moment you have all been waiting for, what is the market going to do in the future? Ron's going to give us his predictions on the 2019 housing market in Park City.
I want to share my predictions for the Park City real estate market in 2019. Now, I'll do this by first responding to several commonly asked questions, and then I'll identify several factors, I like to call them wild cards, which are outside factors that may influence Park City's real estate market in the new year. So let's begin with the questions. What is your overall outlook for the Park City real estate market? Well, let me just say that the Park City real estate market is strong, but it is definitely going through certain changes. The demand to live in Park City remains strong, and I expect that will continue through the new year in 2019. But we will also expect to see continued firm position that buyers are taking, resisting purchasing overpriced listings. This is going to lead to a separation between those who list and those who want to sell. Listers don't need to sell their properties. They can put them on the market, see if anyone's interested in paying their price, and then decide whether they sell or not. Usually we see these listers among the high end of the market, usually above the $2 million price point. To differentiate, sellers adjust their price to the market in order to sell now. It's not that they don't want to get the highest possible price. They of course do, but they're realistic. They'll look at what has sold, they'll look at reasonable prices, and they'll sell for that price. And statistically, as I've already shown with my overview of the market, those prices continue to rise. What will be the hottest properties in 2019? Well, single-family homes will lead that list, and single-family homes are divided into two categories. There are primary residences, and then there are second homes. In addition to that, there is the new developments or newer homes category, if you will. These are new homes that are competition for the new buyer. They are competition for older homes, and they will have a great impact upon the future in 2019. Single-family neighborhoods will be the strongest market segment with the greatest demand from buyers. Second homes and investment properties will follow second with a strong marketplace when priced properly and reasonably. Where do you see property values going in 2019? Well, homes under the $2 million price point will continue to appreciate, although maybe a little bit less than we saw in 2018. I'm suggesting somewhere between 8% and 15%. Still very favorable appreciation. Sellers of high-priced homes will start to lower their list prices, because they're not selling at those higher prices, and they'll be seeking to find that range, and once they find the range, they'll sell their property. Newer homes and condos will be competition for older properties, and that's an important consideration if you're a property owner trying to sell an older property that maybe hasn't been upgraded to match today's preferred standards. New homes will set new record high prices for solds. Older properties will, if they have not been remodeled, will need to either be upgraded or be discounted as much as 15 or 20% lower than the new properties in order to sell in the new year. New homes and new condo sales will lead the way in 2019 simply because many buyers prefer to purchase a new property. These new properties will be competition for the older ones, so the older ones, as I said, will either need to upgrade or be discounted in order to sell in 2019. Will the time that it takes to sell properties change in 2019? Correctly priced properties will sell at about the same pace that they did in 2018, say in 113 days or less. Now, do keep in mind that that's 20% longer than it was during the first half of 2018. So we saw that slowdown when sellers tried to get too high of a price. Overpriced properties will not sell. The market has spoken clearly on this. Buyers are refusing to pay roughly 10% or more over a recent comparable sale. What impact will higher interest rates have in 2019? We do expect to see interest rates continue to climb in the new year. Historically, rising interest rates have actually had little or no impact on Park City sales, and perhaps that's because approximately 50% of all sales are cash. Now let me turn our attention to the wild cards. These wild cards are important, and these are factors that occur outside the Park City marketplace itself, but may have an impact on the Park City real estate market. Wild card number one is the government shutdown. Well, we're into January and the shutdown is still underway, and we hope that that's going to be solved and resolved to everyone's satisfaction. We can get on with life, but it creates uncertainty, and that uncertainty finds its way even to Park City. Next, there is the U.S. real estate forecast for 2019. Now realize that there's no such thing as a U.S. real estate market. All real estate markets are local, just like weather. There's no such thing as a single national weather forecast. There's no such thing as a single national real estate forecast. It's all a local event, so you have to look at it within the individual setting. However, you do hear enough news about the U.S. economy and the national real estate outlook that it impacts people's view of real estate in local neighborhoods, including Park City. So broad sweeping statements that may be negative may influence the mind of someone who's looking at real estate in a local market, whether it's Park City or anywhere in the country. Ultimately, that can impact inventories rising, and we expect that the inventories will rise to about 2017 levels. Thirdly, nationally, the outlook is that mortgage rates will continue to rise, and while that doesn't have as great of an impact in the Park City marketplace, it will influence people's ability to buy elsewhere across the country and impact their attitude toward buying in Park City as well. Finally, speculative investors and house flippers will tend to back away from the cooling market. They don't want to take the risk, and as a result, there are fewer buyers, and that influences the marketplace. The question we've got to ask is, will the U.S. real estate worldview reach Park City? That's the wild card. Wild card number two, Donald. We, for the first time ever, have a tweeting president. We're very familiar with his tweets. They stretch the imagination at times, and I've just grabbed a couple because they're relevant at this point in time. Tweet number one. This one goes back to December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2016. Happy New Year to all, Donald says, including to my many enemies and those who have fought me and lost so badly they just don't know what to do. Love. Tweet number two. After having written many best-selling books and somewhat priding myself on my ability to write, it should be noted that the fake news constantly likes to pour over my tweets looking for a mistake. I capitalize certain words only for emphasis, not because they should be capitalized. That one's interesting in light of this next one. This next tweet goes back to pre-presidential days when Barack Obama was our president, Donald Trump wasn't yet. If Dow Jones ever falls more than 1,000 points in a single day, the sitting president should be loaded into a very big cannon and shot into the sun at tremendous speed. No excuses. That relates to our wild card number four, the Dow Jones plunge. As you know, at the end of 2018, the market plunged more than 1,000 points. This creates, of course, economic uncertainty, certainly talk about the recession, and just not good news. And when you have that lack of stability and lack of confidence, it impacts real estate across the country, including Park City. Wild card number five, well, a lot of big money was lost in the recent stock market decline, and when there's less money available to invest in real estate, that includes Park City. So these are my wild cards, and harder to be able to predict what impact they'll have on the Park City market, but having been in Park City for over 30 years, I know they will have an impact. Well, there you have it. Those are my predictions for Park City real estate in 2019. As always, time will tell how accurate I was. But if you'd like to talk about this stuff or have some thoughts, questions you wish to share, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I like to talk about this stuff and consider it, tend to be analytical in that way. You can shoot me an email at ron@thewilsteinteam.com. Include your phone number. I'm happy to reach out to you at a preferred time. But that's my thoughts going into the new year.
If you're thinking of selling your property during the current ski season, the time to act is now, as we are well underway. Contact us today. We'd be happy to give you a free property value assessment.
With that in mind, let's wrap up here. Wishing you a happy new year for 2019.
Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.